So it is no secret that Rian Johnson has gotten a lot of crap for The Last Jedi. He's been receiving a lot of, I guess you say, hate on Twitter specifically. He's made a lot of like rebuttal arguments. There was one where a guy was complaining about the hologram that Luke did or whatever, and then Rian Johnson pulled out the Jedi Path handbook thing that was made a very long time ago, and pulled out basically a picture from it, and it showed the power that Luke used, and he's like, this was in the book, so, you know, go screw yourself. And so he's been arguing a lot with people on Twitter and kind of, you know, taking a back look at this and, like, maybe he might have screwed up. And so he goes on an interview with Filmcast and he talks about, you know, the backlash he's gotten. And so the arguments he makes are kind of interesting, but here's what he says in the first quote. The crazy thing is, I had no perspective on these tweets. I had no perspective in terms of how a big group of people this was, and even when they were upset about specifically. He said, over the next few weeks, I was able to contextualize it and feel much better about it, but at the time I thought, oh my god, does everyone hate this? Did I totally mess up? Was I wrong? And I had a very dark hour of the soul because I had no context for this. And you know, you got to feel bad for the guy in that kind of situation, because when you make something and you're told it's crap and that people hate you and that they hope you die, I don't care who you are. That unless you're used to it, that's not going to feel good. Like, unless you're the president, no matter what president you are in any country, you're going to get crap like that. So it takes a lot of guts to kind of go through a role like that, especially a big public role, and especially with something like a Star Wars fan base kind of thing. So I applaud him for, you know, handling it the way he more or less has, but this quote is what actually gets me a little frustrated. He goes on to say a few more things, but still. Here's the main quote that I want to talk about. He said, there's nothing I've read or seen that made me think, oh god, did I kind of mess that up? I would have done that differently if I could go back. I still genuinely believe in all the decisions I've made. That really irritates me, and here's why. Specifically with Star Wars fans are, no offense to you guys, but they're very close-minded on these kind of things. When he says this, a lot of fans have come out and been like, yeah, he's right, you know, every film, every decision he's made is good, it's fine, and, you know, he made it, so he knows what's right. Even George Lucas, the director that many Star Wars fans love, foolishly, because, spoiler alert, he's really not that good of a director, has said himself that no film is ever really done. He said himself that, you know, after you're making a film, he's like, it's not done the way you want it to be. And he said, if anything, you have an idea, and if push comes to shove, and sadly enough, you have to make it yourself. This is, I believe, with the interview with Seth MacFarlane. But still, George Lucas himself has said that no film is ever really done. A lot of directors have said the same thing. Quentin Tarantino has done the same thing in some of his films. He said that if it wasn't for, like, his writer, I believe, it was a female writer or something, she challenged him on things and said, oh, no, it should be like this, and Quentin Tarantino's like, no, I want the scene added, and she's like, no, it makes no sense, takes it out, blah, blah, blah. Point is, some of the directors are never really truly done with their films. That's why George Lucas came back into the special editions. That's why even J.J. Abrams himself has came back, and he's not closed-minded and stubborn like Rian Johnson is being. And he goes, oh yeah, that Chewie and a Leia scene, I forgot about that. I probably should have had them hugging. He has came out and been like, yeah, I didn't think about it. And if at least he's honest about it. But Rian Johnson, it irritates me that he's so close-minded on this and stubborn, and I'm very stubborn. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm a very stubborn person, but I'm open-minded to any kind of argument. I mean, no matter what it is, I'm gonna hear you out. But still, he's like, nope, it's fine. I like the decisions I made. And then he goes on to talk about something that irritated me with the movie itself, and an argument I've made was that Poe should have been replaced with Rose, and, you know, Poe go with Finn to Canto Bight and whatnot. And here's why Rian Johnson says that couldn't have worked. And it's so stupid. He goes, the reason I couldn't have had that happen is because I needed someone to challenge Finn. Poe couldn't challenge Finn because they're already friends and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. Rose challenged Finn, and that's what I wanted. I wanted someone to challenge him as a character. That makes no sense. It's like this man has never seen a Star Wars movie, or seen a movie in general. You know, you remember Anakin and Obi-Wan? They're very iconic characters. I don't know if you've heard of them or not with this new trilogy at least. But still, these guys challenged each other. Now, granted, they weren't on screen enough as much as they should have been together to feel a friendship, but still, we were told that they're good friends and whatnot, and we saw the kind of their friendship be what it was. But in the third movie, you see, you know, the start of Anakin going, hey, I'm going to go back and I'm going to help those clones. And Obi-Wan's like, no, we're doing our job. They can do theirs and whatnot. Or they're doing our jobs. We can do ours. Blah, blah, blah. Point is, that's challenging each other right there. That small little thing, that's a challenge on character. That's two opposing forces challenging each other. Lord of the Rings, you have Sam and Frodo. Sam challenges Frodo as time goes on with the decisions he's made, as in trusting Gollum and whatnot. It's stuff like this. Characters are allowed to challenge each other. Friends are allowed to challenge each other. You don't have to bring in a new character and establish him as kind of like the almost opposite of who Finn is, which I'm talking about Rose, when you could have just brought in Poe, who we haven't seen him and Finn on screen too much, but we know there's a good friendship going on. If they would have gone to the Canto Bight scene, that would have built a better friendship. We would have liked them a lot more, kind of like we like Luke and Han Solo as friends, and they could have challenged each other's views and opinions on things. So I don't know why we had to bring in a new character to further establish a pre-established character. Ugh! This guy irritates me. He irritates me so much. And so the fact that he's just sitting here acting like, oh, nope, my movie's fine, and it's good, and it's exactly how it should be done. I'm like, dude, you're... I don't know, man. Even Tommy Wiseau, the director of The Room, which is considered one of the worst movies, if not the worst movie of all time, has came out after a very long time, though, and said, oh, yeah, that movie I really thought was good when I made it and thought it was going to be good. Yeah, it's not so good. And he's accepting of it. And that's what I wish Rian Johnson would do, is just take a step back and look at it and go, you know what? Yeah, maybe I could have changed a thing or two. Like, I understand thinking your movie's good. Like, the whole petition to make him admit the movie was bad is stupid. But if he would at least come out and say, yeah, there was a scene or two I wish I would have done differently. Just something like that. You know, he's making so many excuses with the Knights of Ren, with Rose, with Poe and Finn, and just Luke himself. I mean, he's just making all these excuses. It's like, dude, if you have to keep defending your movie this much, is it really that good of a movie? But live and let die. You gotta let it happen. You gotta come to peace with it. And Rian Johnson is already coming to peace with it. I'm not entirely excited for his new trilogy. He has said that the reaction he's gotten for The Last Jedi will not change his perspective on the new trilogy, and he will not approach it differently, which scares the crap out of me. But I mean, I'm just the old guy who complains at this point, and I'm not even old, so take it as you will, folks. What do you guys think? Do you think he should have changed a few scenes? Do you think he's being stubborn and closed-minded like I think he is? Or do you think I'm overreacting and just not believing in this director's words? Comment your thoughts below. What would you have changed about The Last Jedi if you were the director? And would you have came out and admitted that your film might need a few changes if you think it did? Or are you going to stand by what your work is and never change? Comment your thoughts below. I'm Star Wars Only. I'll see you all next time. May the Force be with you always.